What's up, guys? We're back with the 92 Corvette. This right here is George. He's gonna be the one of the new members of the channel. Okay, sweet. So he says, every subscriber I get, I'm gonna write your name on George, and then we'll figure out if he ever, looks like Post Malone or something. We'll just send him off to a viewer or something. But for now, let's get back on a 92 Corvette. We're doing the 24X conversion with torquehead. We're going to be putting that in today on this video. Stay tuned. Now you may be asking yourself,
well, what is the 24X conversion by torquehead?
well, here it is, alright. So in place of the OptiSpark goes in this guy. So right here is your crank position sensor and your cam position sensor. Basically converting it to modern day LS1 sensors or any kind of GM motor sensors. What this guy is, ooh, man, that's shiny, shiny, shiny. Well, what this is it's our new balancer mount, and it's gonna go like this, right underneath this guy. As you can see, that sensor, that black sensor right there, is gonna be locating each one of these notches as the crank spins, and that gives you your timing, also paired with the cam position sensor. So then we can run the Holley Terminator, which will be next video. Here's the instructions that I'll probably try and read, but I can't read. I like pictures, so let's have a few pictures. I like that. It makes me happy. So the style that we're going to be working with is the spline type. This is the pin type. I think this is the later model OptiSparks, how they were driven. So it's gonna be pretty straightforward. We're just gonna put this guy in first. I believe I gotta read and see, but I mean it has all the tools you ever need to get it in. Well, adjustment wise, obviously you need stuff to put in the bolts and whatnot. This guy, timing set gear on the crank. I'm just gonna put a socket in there, tighten it down, and that's gonna be our press for that guy. So on the other end, obviously you just bolt it in. I'll show you the spline here. Very nice quality, very nice machined aluminum, very nice. As you can see, so this guy spins, and there's that keyway. So if you remember from another episode, is on this OptiSpark, has the same thing. It has a keyway. See that? So it's got that keyway in there to prevent you from misaligning the timing. So I am going to make a video on taking this guy apart. I know there's videos on YouTube and stuff, but I want to do it for myself, and I'll make a video as well. Alright, I'm going to attempt some reading. Like I said, can't really read that well. But let's get it. I already put the key in here. It's kind of difficult if you have this this portion in. So the instructions tell you to put it in beforehand, which I completely agree with. So let's try and finagle this guy in here. It also said position the engine a certain way, but I'm sure to get that keyway to line up a little bit easier, but I think I got it. Let's go ahead and get our bolts here, if I can find them, because it's been a little while. Oh, you know what I didn't think of? We need thread sealing on these. I'm pretty sure these go all the way into the block and into an oiling zone. So let me go grab some thread sealer. All right, let's get it in. Had to get white on the beautiful aluminum. Whatever will I do? See, the RTV is blocking me a little bit from getting in. I didn't even think about that. So definitely make sure those holes are clear for this guy if you ever do a timing cover for this. I did the timing cover. You can check it out in the previous video if you're interested in that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So you can see it's bouncing back because of all the RTV in there. If I can't, okay, all right. All right, got the thread. Got it. Hey, relax. I got the thread, all right? Let's zap these hogs in here. Let's get it. And I'm not just screaming her down, all right? Relax. You in the back. Obviously, you just have to torque these, right? Bink. Yes. Remember, we're going into aluminum, all right? Don't just crank down on her. Okay. Man, that looks freaking outstanding. Would you just look at it? Okay. Let's get the favorite part, the crank hub on. Forgot one thing. I'm gonna pull the sensor out just because I don't want it to get hurt. And it's so nice and pretty. So, and I could probably see a little bit better with that hole. Right, got this guy all greased up, so you can see in there. I'm just using bearing grease. Should help it slide on a little bit better on the outside. I just used some motor oil to lubricate the front crank seal. That way, on startup, we're not just running her dry. So let's get it in. So I guess a little bit chunkier than I thought, but anything up, it's just too nice looking, too nice for me. All right, I got that pin sort of lined up. I also forgot to say that in the instructions it gives you a spacer. Oh, that might be a problem. I'm looking at my power steering line, and I could have sworn it was pushed more underneath. I'm gonna have to look into that. If we start pressing it in and it starts touching it, that's a huge no-no. But I'm basically just wiggling it on, and then now we can get our setup and we'll get that thing pressed on. Got our setup in, let's see what we can do. Alright, had a little bit of a freak out moment, but the timing wheel is not centered on this hole right here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have used that spacer, but I forgot. They designed this so well that you can loosen these up and boom. They give you this tool, drops in the sensor hole. Boom, look at that, self-align. So basically, this guy has a notch in there, and then it goes on top of the timing wheel. Look at that, locks it in, and once we tighten these down, it'll be perfectly aligned overhead of it. Now, if GM was smart, they would have done this back in '92 when they made the damn thing. They probably said, oh, you know, let's let everybody who ever changes an OptiSpark just struggle. Yeah, well, I'd like to have a word with you, their OptiSpark designer. No, I mean, I know you kind of led to better ignition using it, but look at that. Boom, take that out, perfectly centered. Read the instructions, and again, I know, it's amazing. I more just looked at the pictures, but basically you drop it in there. It says without the feeler gauge, so they supply you one. So they're just absolute sweethearts. And they said, go ahead and just snug that down. Okay, as you can see, I got the yellow feeler gauge out, and it doesn't slide in. It does get caught a little bit, but look at that. Even for people that don't read the instructions, light drag, don't force. All right, I'm gonna go get one of the supplied spacers. Spacer going in. I mean, that is just barely nothing. It's maybe a 15th. Let's see. Once again, you want to attach this back down, because without that, you might be getting a false reading on it, and you got to make sure that this guy is perfecto. You don't want to mess around with your timing, folks. It's not a good deal. Back with our feeler gauge, I snug it up against the housing. All right, so it's still getting caught. So this isn't light drag, this is getting caught. So okay, got the next one installed. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Beautiful. I mean, it just barely drags. So that's what this car needed, is 2 spacers. Although it's a little bit looser than I would want, but I think we'll go with that. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it down. She's installed. And one little side note, make sure you keep this alignment tool. You never know if you're gonna have to change that sensor or whatnot. I don't have any leftover shims because I used them all on that, guys, so just make sure you keep this. All right, so I went ahead and torqued it all down. I put on the harmonic balancer, tighten that down, and I'm not gonna show the rest of, like, you know, the water pump and all that stuff, because that's going to be during the Terminator video. So that's going to conclude it for today. All right, guys, that'll conclude the torque head install. It was very easy, very straightforward. They give you good instructions. I mean, if there's anything else, really, you just got to make sure everything's adjusted. The water pump is going to be the next thing, along with the Terminator set. So I'm going to get that all set up, ready to go. I only got a few days for it. Let's just get it done. And like I said, if you subscribe, I will write your name onto George. All right, that'll do it for this episode. Deuces.